My name is Maya Sterling. I'm 28, and for 3 years, I dedicated every extra hour and saved every dollar from my job as a digital marketing specialist in Seattle, Washington. I was planning my dream wedding to my fiancé Noah. Nothing extravagant, just beautiful. The venue, the caterer, I had it all budgeted. My parents had promised to cover the venue rental. That was the only cushion I was counting on. You see, I've always been the invisible sibling. I'm the responsible one. My younger sister Willow is the spoiled favorite. I finished college debt-free. Maya's just naturally focused. I landed a job right out of school. Oh, Maya's so independent. Meanwhile, Willow failed out of her first year and immediately got a luxury condo downtown. I thought my wedding, my one big moment, would finally be different. I thought they would finally show up for me. But sitting in a high-end restaurant, surrounded by our entire extended family, I realized the promise wasn't a gift. It was a lie. It started when my mother, Vivian, cleared her throat, tapping her wine glass with her spoon. "Everyone, I have a little announcement about Maya's wedding plans." My heart pounded. Here it is, I thought, the moment of celebration. "We've decided," she continued, her voice light, "that the money we set aside is going to Willow's gap-year trip to Southeast Asia instead." The table went silent. I felt the air leave my lungs. I waited for the cruel joke. "It's an investment," Mom explained to the table, dismissing my existence. "Willow needs this cultural experience before she finds herself. Maya's always been so practical. She doesn't really need the financial burden lifted like Willow does." My Aunt Diane nodded stiffly. "You're so resourceful, Maya. You'll just scale back a bit." I finally found my voice. "Mom, what about the $10,000 venue deposit? The caterers, the invitations have gone out." "Oh, about those little things," she said, finally looking at me, a cold little smile playing on her lips. She sliced into her filet mignon. "I already called the venue and canceled, got most of the refund back. It's a lesson in financial accountability, honey. You can't just expect people to fund your circus." My Uncle Robert actually chuckled. I felt my face turn to fire. Relatives started checking their phones, suddenly desperate to avoid my gaze. Within minutes, half the table had made awkward excuses and left. I was left watching my family finish their expensive meal, planning Willow's exotic itinerary, as if the destruction of my wedding was merely a forgotten side salad. The humiliation peaked when Mom stood to leave, her voice a sharp stage whisper, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Your card got declined again, honey, just for the parking validation." She handed the card back with a pitying sigh, ensuring every remaining person understood I was broke and irresponsible. 2 weeks later, I learned through an aggressively tagged photo album that my parents were hosting a lavish Bon Voyage party for Willow, a 6-figure bash for a trip paid for with my wedding funds. I was not invited. Then came the final, infuriating insult. Dad called me that Sunday, cheerful as if nothing had happened. "Maya, sweetheart, big favor. Willow needs a stunning, custom itinerary booklet for her trip. You're a digital marketing specialist. You're so good at making things look pretty. Can you whip one up for free? It's for family." For free. Like my professional skill was just a hobby. Like my time was worthless unless it served Willow. That night, I sat with Noah, surrounded by my shattered vendor contracts. "Maybe we should just elope, Maya. Just escape them," he pleaded. "No," I said, the word a steel rod in my voice. "I'm not running. I'm not letting them win." Noah looked at me, seeing the storm in my eyes. "What are you thinking?" I smiled, a slow, dangerous smile. They don't know who they're dealing with. What they didn't know was that I'd been secretly building a high-level marketing portfolio with high-paying freelance clients for the past 3 years. While they saw me as a junior specialist, I had quietly amassed a significant emergency fund. What they also didn't know was that I'd saved every text, every canceled contract, and every humiliating post, building a detailed, professional case file. But the thing they truly didn't know about was the phone call I'd made to my fiancé's distant cousin, Anya.
Anya was a ruthless, legendary wedding planner in San Francisco who had cut ties with her own toxic family years ago. She had a reputation for throwing impossible, elegant, unforgettable events. "Let me help you throw a wedding that will be their worst nightmare," Anya said over a clandestine Zoom call. "But here's the twist. We do this in absolute silence. No social media, no announcements, no invitations for them."
While my parents posted proud parents photos of Willow with $3,000 luggage paid for with my deposit, Anya and I were executing a flawless, low-key luxury plan. We secured a stunning, intimate mountaintop retreat that was far more exclusive than their original venue. We used my freelance earnings to pay for everything, upgrading the caterer and hiring a world-class photographer. I overheard Mom on the phone one evening when I dropped by for mail. "Maya will just have to learn," she was saying. "Maybe this will teach her not to dream so big. Should we get Willow that vintage Cartier watch for her farewell brunch?" Their next invitation arrived 3 days later. Heavy, embossed cardstock. "You're invited to Willow's exclusive pre-trip soiree." The day of the party, I arrived with a perfectly homemade and surprisingly delicious 4-layer cake, my required contribution. The family was gathered, gushing over Willow's travel itinerary and her new diamond tennis bracelet. "Maya made the most marvelous cake," Mom announced, acknowledging me as if I were kitchen staff. "Thanks," I said, setting it down. "I have some news to share too." "Oh, did you finally set a new date?" Aunt Diane asked, patronizingly. "Something in a local park, maybe?" "Actually," I said, pulling out my phone and projecting the screen onto the smart TV behind the bar, a small technical flourish only a digital marketing specialist could pull off. "Noah and I got married last weekend." The room went dead silent. The party playlist abruptly cut out. The screen was filled with stunning, high-resolution photos of our ceremony. I narrated the slideshow like a professional pitch deck. Beautiful ceremony, Mount Rainier backdrop, intimate, perfect. With what money?" Dad sputtered, grabbing his chest. You taught me to be independent," I replied, my voice ringing with clarity. "So I learned to depend on my own income, my own planning, and my own skills instead of broken promises." But we're your family. We should have been there," Mom whispered, her voice cracking with sudden, performative pain. "Family shows up," I countered, looking her directly in the eye. "You chose to send my wedding money to Bali instead." Willow finally spoke up, wide-eyed. "Maya, I didn't know you got married." "Of course you didn't. Willow never asks anything that doesn't involve your next flight or your next free gift." The moment was electric. Years of being pushed aside culminated in this final, undeniable proof of my self-sufficiency. "The wedding was perfect," I continued, letting the silence hang. "Anya helped plan it, Noah's family and our real friends were there. People who actually love us." "Anya? The Anya Sterling?" Dad asked, his voice shaking. "Anya Vance, actually, Noah's cousin. Turns out she specializes in helping self-made people throw events when their biological families disappoint them." Mom started to cry, the ugly, desperate tears of someone realizing they've lost control. "We can fix this, Maya. We can throw you a big second ceremony." "No." The word was a final slam of a vault door. "You can't fix years of choosing her over me. You can't fix making me feel like I had to earn love while giving it to her for free." I picked up my purse. "Enjoy the cake. I made it myself, just like everything else in my life." That was a year ago. Noah and I just celebrated our first anniversary. My high-end design and marketing consulting business is thriving. I quit my junior job 6 months ago. My parents still call, but I don't answer. Their silence no longer hurts. It's the sound of my own freedom. I finally learned that family isn't about blood. It's about who respects your worth. Have you ever used a professional skill or a quiet side hustle to overcome a family betrayal? Tell me about your secret weapon. Drop a comment below. I always check. Your story deserves to be heard.